All right, lens assembly. Lens assembly, I'm going to show you on this one here because it's a little bit easier to show. What happens inside the camera is when you push the zoom, it basically will move the lens inside the camera. So in this model, all this happens inside. On this one here, you can actually see the lens moving. Okay? So what does the lens actually do? So when we look on the front of this lens, it basically is a light collector. And when it collects light, I'm going to open this up so you can see, it focuses it to a smaller beam, as you can see here. So collects light and then focuses it on this little part. So once it focuses on that little part, you'll see on here there's a little mirror on the inside. And so when you press the record button, this little part actually opens up and there's a sensor behind that. That sensor then collects the light and changes it into digital information. So as you can see from the picture, there's lots of little pieces of glass on the inside. So the number one thing is that front lens we don't want to touch, because if you touch it, you leave fingerprints behind, it gets dirty and blurry, and then your image looks foggy. Please make sure that you don't touch the front of the lens, because it's also very expensive. It's the most expensive part of the camera. So if we had a $1,000 camera and it took the company $500 to make that $1,000 camera, probably about $400 out of that $500 that it took them to make the camera went into just the glass on the lenses alone. Because it's not just one piece of glass in the front, there's several, and as you see from that cross section, there's lots of little pieces that move back and forth to zoom and magnify the image. So whenever you're recording, when you are not recording, you're walking around, you always want to carry the camera with your lens to you. That way, in case you would drop it, it would land backside instead of front side. This backside stuff less expensive, actually. You can actually fix, something that breaks here, then this. This front part here, remember, that's the most expensive part. So if you drop it like that with all the expensive glass pieces in it, it's no good. So same thing with our cameras that we have here. So when you're not using it, you're going to close the viewfinder, because watch what happens. When it's on, see how this is open? If I just close this door, lens cap closes to protect it. That way I can't accidentally touch it. Even with the microphone still plugged in, we're still good. But I'm going to walk around with the camera like this. That way, if I did bump into someone, they're hitting the battery side, and then this side is just going towards my body, and it's not going to do any harm. When we first power it on for the day, you always want to check your card, make sure you have enough storage, check your battery life, and then check your lens. Is it clean? And the way you do that is you hold it up to the light like this and kind of look back and forth, and you can see if someone's touched it, whether there's fingerprints or anything like that on there. So always check your card, check your battery, check your lens. And if you do have any dirt on your lens, never spray it onto the electronic device. Always spray it on a microfiber cloth. I would take a little blower bulb if you have one, blow off the dirt, and then you're basically going to clean from the middle out, like this. Okay? And then you would slowly take the wet lens, then you find a dry piece of the cloth and slowly dry it off, with not putting too much pressure, because if you push too hard, you're going to possibly damage the lens. If it's here in school, you just let me know and I clean the lenses before you are going to go record.